This is a long story. Please listen carefully. How the president is planning to spy on your social media, my social media, and media houses, and to study the social media users, how to delete some if you comment badly, if your articles are bad, to project what the Villager 254 is going to post, and then deal with it, respond. All this done with a software. It will even interfere with the hashtags. Yani, hii story siwezi kunyamaza na siwezi kukupea polepole, nataka nikusomee to the end. Skiza. A high-stakes commercial litigation has exposed President William Ruto's alleged plan to acquire an online propaganda machine to counter hostility against his administration and boost his 2027 re-election campaign. The fallout between the president's close aides and the American owners of the 120 million software has revealed the alleged plan to deploy confidential software with the capacity to spy on targets, in quote, as part of Dr. Ruto's re-election bid. It also highlights how public funds withdrawn from confidential accounts were to be spent to source for technological solutions to guarantee consistency and clarity in government communications, and how much more could be paid out in court awards for breach of contract. The suit was filed on Monday at the Milimani High Court by Mary Washuka Maina, a dual Kenyan and a Canadian citizen who owns Jipe Inc. and a company registered in Canada. In court papers, she describes herself as an international data scientist and software engineer with disruptive and innovative technology expertise. The legal dispute began in New York, United States of America, where Ms. Washuka had on May 13, 2024, pay $123 million as compensation for breach of contract to a firm she had subcontracted for the collapsed Kenyan project. Now, she has sued for senior government officials and 2 aides of the president, seeking 292 million Kenyan shillings in compensation and an order restraining the defendants or their agents from sending her and her mother menacing death threats by phone, email, or any other means over the contract or the claim. The defendants are National Treasury Principal Secretary Chris Kipto, Head of Public Service Felix Koskei, the Attorney General Mr. Jayesh Saini, and Mr. Eric Ngeno, the President's speechwriter. This case involves the defendant's fraudulent misrepresentation and breach of contracts, which caused the plaintiff Washuka a significant loss of 172 million. It reads the court papers drawn by Kanchori Mutali and company advocate. According to the documents, Mr. Ngeno had tasked Washuka and Jipe Inc. with delivering robust software capable of managing the president and his deputy social media pages and deleting negative reactions to uploaded posts. The pitch indicated that the software could predict critical media coverage and prepare counter strategies. Jipe, which marketed itself as a business solution provider on its website, was to receive 130 million for the political tool. The deal, court papers show, was conceived on November 7th last year at Moxie's restaurant in Kilimani, where Mr. Ngeno met Ms. Washuka. Mr. Ngeno, the Secretary for Policy Messaging and President's official speechwriter, informed Ms. Washuka that the president had tasked him with sourcing technological solutions to guarantee consistency and clarity in government communications, among other things. He requested Ms. Washuka, as a matter of urgency, to develop confidential software to manage strategic communication towards the president's 2027 re-election. The software would have the capacity to spy on targets, court papers state. Ms. Washuka, who has worked on such projects for governments worldwide, was attentive as the soft-spoken Mr. Ngeno presented President Ruto's wish list. He revealed President Ruto's pain with the government communication department, which was apparently failing him. The project was urgent, so Ms. Washuka was to drop all other assignments and immediately commence developing the software that would address the needs of the President's Communication Department and that of his deputy then, Rigathi Gachagua. The software that President Ruto was alleged hoping to purchase was a unique one with a top-of-the-range specs. The desired software was designed to perform 10 crucial functions. First, it was meant to have the capacity to manage the president and his deputy social media pages. The president hoped that it would be enabled to delete or hide harmful and vulgar comments and respond to positive ones. The software was also to be customized to monitor the Raila Odinga-led opposition. It will allow the president and his deputy to monitor how the opposition manages communication, audience, and reach. Further, number 3, the software to be programmed to allow the government to monitor and influence trending hashtags and on social media. Another number 4 was to monitor public sentiment about president and gauge its popularity based on ethnicity. Ms. Washuka and her team of software developers in the US were further tasked with customizing the software to improve, that's number 10. Number 5, the image of the president and his deputy. Mr. Ngeno said the president wanted the software to address the government reputation problems. The software that Ms. Washuka and her team were to deliver would also conduct searches on journalists and media houses. This would enable the government to produce and disseminate dossiers that would counter the credibility of social media. In general, the software would be used to gather intelligence and produce reports on planned attacks by the media and opposition. This would make it easy for Ruto administration to influence the public perception of his government. Lastly, the software was to be used for psychometric profiling and management. Government officials would map out behaviors, skills, and knowledge to understand the mental processes and social patterns of politicians and use this information to their advantage. This function would help the government manage the public by using information that would portray the government in a positive light and taint the image of the opposition. After this meeting, Mr. Ngeno directed Ms. Washuka to commence the project immediately and promised that the government would pay her for her services. No formal agreement on the payment was made at this time, and Mr. Ngeno pledged that he would meet some top officials close to the President Ruto who would fund the project. Mr. Saini, the billionaire behind the billions of shillings social health insurance fund deal, was mentioned as one of the individuals who would be consulted regarding the funding. Mr. Washuka, Mr. Ngeno, and Ms. Aini attended a follow-up meeting on November 22, 2023 at an office in Ark Place on Nyangumi Road. It was during this meeting that Ms. Washuka was first introduced to Saini, who was identified as the man who would oversee the project and handle the finances. Earlier on December 12th, Ms. Washuka had told the associate that the proposal had been presented to the government financier and Olgach Jayesh Saini, who was put in charge of the finance, the whole software. It was explained to Ms. Washuka that owing the confidentiality of the project, only Mr. Saini would handle the finances and oversee the implementation. During the meeting, Mr. Saini and his personal assistant Nishat Mishra raised many issues, which made the data scientist doubt his ability to handle the situation. Fast forward. In December 17, 2023, Mr. Ngeno again reached out to Ms. Washuka and informed her that he had met the President Ruto on the issue, and the President had promised to give his nod the following day, December 18th. On December 18th, Mr. Ngeno contacted Ms. Washuka with the great news that the President had okayed the project. According to the court paper, the President approved the project based on Mr. Ngeno's speech and the tool's alignment with the government messaging needs. Mr. Ngeno allegedly said that the budget presents no problem as the money would be sourced from the National Treasury confidential account or from the 2024 budgetary allocations. My people, that is part 1. Now, before Washuka now goes on to construct another company, listen to the next video. Now, After the president confirms that the project will go on, now Washuka engages a company in the US, the company that sued her and has made her a poor person after working all these years in the US. The story continues, part 2. On December 20th, 2023, Mr. Washuka formally subcontracted another firm, Texo. Texo was run by Sheldon Trent and Richardson, who had partnered with Ms. Washuka on several such projects for almost a decade. In November, Ms. Washuka had expressed her desire to retain their services on the sensitive contract from the Kenyan government. They indicated they could shelve a project they had for the United Kingdom to prioritize the Kenyan project. When Ms. Washuka asked them to proceed with the Kenya project, they demanded a commitment fee. Ms. Washuka contacted Mr. Ngeno, who assured her of the release of the agreed money. Based on Mr. Ngeno's assurances, Mr. Washuka entered into a contract with Teso to execute the project, codenamed Numera 2023. Under the contract of December 23, 2023, Ms. Washuka onboarded Teso for 60 million Kenya shillings. There was 1.5 million per week penalty for delayed payment for the project. Under the agreement, 60% of the central sum, that is 36 million, was due as a down payment on January 31st, 2024, while 40%, that is 24 million, was due on delivery of the software on February 28th. That's when it was supposed to be delivered. Okay? Allah. Sorry, imepotea kidogo. Nakwambia hii njebi iko na maneno. This is now the continuation. Okay. Trent says in court paper that Ms. Washuka informed that Mr. Ngeno had been tasked by the Kenyan president to source a technological solution that would ensure consistency and clarity in communication with government, amongst other things, but not limited to spying on the citizens of Kenya. On December 29, 2024, Mr. Ngeno told Ms. Washuka to get ready for the job and revealed that he had planned a meeting with top government officials who included Mr. Kosgei. Dr. Kipto and Director General Public Investment and Portfolio Lawrence Kibet were also expected at the meeting. Mr. Ngeno told Ms. Washuka that the three top government officials were eager to meet her to discuss the project financing. However, this meeting did not take place.